Dear brothers, morning fellas. We're going to get into a little fitness today and other things. So, on the phone with a new potential client, this was last week. And whenever I have a prospective client and man that I'm talking to who's looking to improve their performance, lose some weight, get better on the golf course, or just be more jacked for their wife, whatever the reason, we hop on a call and we just talk through what they've been doing and what they like, what they don't like, and if what I do is even best for them and what we can do to optimize their success. So the gentleman that I was speaking with took no time to let me know that he was very serious about getting into shape. He was as gung-ho as they could get. And here's what he told me. He's got a sauna, infrared sauna. Got a cold plunge. He's got a special pump in his bed that pumps cold air in so that he can recover a little bit better. He has a specialty eye mask that massages his eyes at night. He was taking around maybe 10 different supplements, 3 or 4 I had never heard of, some kind of root. And he was letting it all out, that he just does all of this extra stuff. And he thought that all of that was really, what was helping him right now. But his blood work and his body told a very different story than what all of his extra stuff was. He was about 40 pounds over where he was a couple of years ago. His lipid panel was all over the place. His blood sugar was elevated. His vitamin D was low, amongst lots of other things. Put simply, his panels didn't look so hot, and neither did his physique. And he was explaining to me that he was perplexed by the fact that nothing was adding up. He'd spent so much effort and a monstrous amount of money on all this stuff, and the needle just wasn't moving in the right direction. To him, it just didn't make sense. And this is where I ask a couple of the million-dollar questions. First one being, well, what do your workouts look like? And the second one being, what does your diet look like? He made it clear to me that he was, in his mind, sleeping well. So I decided to go down the track of kind of teasing out what his actual fitness and nutrition looked like. And so, what do your workouts look like? So he told me that he works out maybe 3 days a week, confidently. He said 3 days a week. After a couple of sentences, he's like, but I've traveled a bunch recently, and so I've missed some workouts, but I at least do, a day a week. But sometimes if I get busy again, that turns into like a half hour on the elliptical or maybe on a bicycle but guess what? I do walk through the airport a lot, so that's got to count for something. And I continue talking and, hey, do you do any kind of resistance training when you go to the gym? And he was like, well, sometimes, but it just depends on, sometimes the gym is packed when I go in there. And if I'm in a rush, I might do a couple of sets of chest and biceps and then get on the elliptical or something for 15 or 20 minutes. And then if I'm busy, I got to go, or, it can change a little bit from time to time. I'm a busy guy. So I kind of just nod away. And then I ask him what his diet looks like. And he goes, I rarely eat breakfast, but because, work can be really busy in the mornings and I'm kind of rushing out, I'll grab a muffin or, always have a cup of coffee. But usually at lunchtime, I'll grab something quick because I'm on the road or I'm traveling. Very rarely am I at home, but if I am, maybe I'll have leftovers, but nothing that I'm really tracking. I try to get maybe a little bit of chicken in whenever I can because I know I need the protein, but sometimes that doesn't happen and I get home late at night and it just doesn't work out that way. But coffee, like I already said, about 5 cups a day or that guy dies. So I ask him about vegetables. He goes, well, I have a salad sometimes, usually at night. Okay, what about alcohol? And he goes, well, I drink sometimes. I try to be a pretty moderate drinker. And as I teased that out, moderate to him was 8 to 10 drinks a week. So we got that down. I ask him about how much he goes and eats out, goes out to restaurants, out to dinner, out to lunch, whatever. He goes, maybe 3 to 4 times for lunch and 2 to 3 times a week for dinner. All right. So it was at this part of the conversation after we'd kind of worked all this stuff out that I told him the words I love to tell prospective clients. My man, I can absolutely help you. And the reason is because you are simply focusing too much on all the little stuff, and we need to get you focused on the bigger boulders of health. Gents, let me impart some wisdom on you, which you've probably heard me say already. Many of us love to do the little itty bitty baby things for our bodies and act like they are big. The saunas, the cold tubs, the massage guns, the heating pads, the specialty creams, the eye masks, the voodoo floss, the foam rolling, the cupping. The list is endless of little extra stuff that people think is so important and they spend a ridiculous amount of money on. By the time I was done talking to this guy, it was clear that he had spent somewhere in the realm of like $5,000 to $6,000 on some of the accessory stuff he had. And that's the minimum amount. But the reason that so many people love doing those things, those tertiary things, is that they think they're cure-alls. Or more realistically, it's just that those things are easier than actually putting in the work. I went on to explain to this new client that we were going to have to focus very heavily on two specific aspects of his health, two big boulders of his health. Number one, getting enough protein in a day. He was somewhere around 30 to 60 grams of protein a day, maybe. And he needed to be somewhere around 170, 180 on the low end. So remember, if you aren't getting your calories from protein, you're going to find somewhere else to get them from. Worst of all, if you have no protein, I wish you the best of luck with your muscles getting any bigger and any stronger. Number two thing I told him, he had to resistance train just twice a week for about 45 minutes and do 1 day a week of low intensity steady state cardio and 1 day a week of high intensity interval training. About 30 minutes for each of those. And then the additional walking that he does throughout the airports and what have you would just be the cherry on top. He was getting absolutely no consistent strength training over the last few months and maybe probably the last year. And because of that, your muscles just are simply not going to grow. And certainly your cardiovascular system isn't improving. It was as simple as that. No voodoo, no special sauce, no seances where we're trying to, do some stuff, no extra sessions in the cold tub. And understand that all of those functions are at the fringes of fitness and health. They're not useless by any stretch. I like cold tubs. I like that people do them. I think it's great. I like saunas. I also think that those are great. I think that there are benefits that we see out of those things. I think there are benefits to massages. I think there are benefits to a host of things, but they aren't the primary. I would dare say they're not even the secondary. They're tertiary things. They're extra stuff that you can do. You can get into a cold tub every morning for the rest of your life. If that is all you do, you will not be more fit, you will not be stronger, you will not have a better cardiovascular system, and you will not look better with your clothes off. It's as easy as that. If you just eat well, get enough protein, lift weights, improve your cardiovascular system, specifically your VO2 max, like we've talked about in prior episodes. Those are kind of your three monster boulders, your primary boulders that we need to address. But if you aren't doing those, that little extra 5% of stuff that you're doing or supplements you're taking means absolutely nothing besides maybe making you feel better that you're trying to do something and you're spending money on something to get more healthy. So I will reiterate this again for all of you listening. And you're going to be tired of it, but I am on a mission to get all of you eating more protein, picking up all the weights, and looking better with your clothes off. Your wife will thank me later. Number one, you need to eat 0.8 to 1 gram per pound body weight of protein per day. Easy as that. Number two, you need to lift 2 to 3 days a week for 45 to 60 minutes, maybe up to 90 minutes, hitting each body part and actually doing resistance training. Number three, do a day a week of low intensity, steady state work, zone 1, 2, 3. for 30 to 45 minutes. Do another day of interval-based work for 15 to 30 minutes in the zone 4-5 range. That's your minimum thing. Easy as that. Number 4, when you eat, protein, veggies should be the first thing that you consume. They tend to fill you up a little bit more, and do that before you eat carbs. It'll help with, not having as many hyperglycemic events. You will feel more full. It's just better. Lastly, number 5, sleep 6 to 9 hours a night. You don't need the stuff where it's blowing into your bed. Although, again, having a cold bedroom does contribute to sleeping better. Having blackout shades does contribute to sleeping better. Those things I'm A-okay with. But if you only do those few things I just talked about, you really probably don't need to do any of the other stuff. Can you? Absolutely. We're about to move here in a couple of weeks, and I am going to have a cold tub in our garage. In the home gym that we build, I'll have a cold tub in there. But it's not my primary thing. The gym that's next to it is the primary thing. Cold tub's just an added bonus, if you will. Here's the thing. So when I'm talking to this guy, here's what you need to know, is that he's not covering any of the big bases. He's not taking care of the big boulders. And because of that, we now have to beat through all those things. We have to make him better at those. And that takes more time. Whereas if you're conquering the little boulders that are there, the big boulders, I guess, even if your diet is good, and we've got to work on the fitness, or your recovery is good and your fitness is good, but your diet's a little bit messed up. We're only fixing one of the 3, if you will. It makes it so much easier for us to add little stuff as time goes on. What I mean by that is, say we get your blood panels back and we notice that, maybe we need to take a look at getting you more omega-3s. It's an easy thing that we can work on. Maybe we need to get more methylated vitamins to you. Maybe your homocysteine levels are high. Okay, we can get on that. Those are easy things. But if you've already got the 3 big boulders, at least mostly taken care of, those things are extra. They're easy. They're not big adds. So in closing, stop messing around with doing the little stuff and thinking that it's big stuff. It's not. It's most of the time just a way for you to procrastinate, spend way too much money, and still get no results. So eat well, lift, recover, repeat, maybe take some omega-3s, and that's it. You can still have your cold tub and your sauna. I'm not going to make you get rid of them. But do the big boulders. You'll look like an absolute savage. I'll be proud of you. It's as easy as that. You need help, you know how to find me. God bless. I love all of you. Be strong. Let's have an absolutely beautiful day. We'll see you, gents.